Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast. Our primary objective is to motivate and inspire our listeners to never quit. The reality of life is simple. We all fall. We all fail. At times, we get knocked down. The question is, do we get back up? Are we stronger? Are we better prepared to attain the maximum of our potential? Thank you for joining our No Quit tribe. As you go for your greatness today, never quit. And remember, we rise by lifting others up. Welcome to episode number 294 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is moving the quit line. Our quote of the day comes to us from Neela Ray. I already know what giving up feels like. I want to see what happens if I don't. If you have not yet grabbed yourself a copy of our new book, The Positivity Tribe, please do so and join our Positivity Tribe. You can head on over to Amazon or anywhere else books are sold. With over 2.5 million subscribers to his YouTube channel, our guest today is all about serving others. He shares a term today that I've not yet heard before, moving the quit line. It is an honor to have Evan Carmichael join us, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Evan, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Thanks for the love, Chris. Good to be here, man.
I appreciate it. So the first question I ask everybody, and I know your answer, but I have to ask you, is are you ready to positively impact at least one person today?
Let's go. Let's go.
So the number one objective of our show is to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up. And I was curious if you yourself have either a no-quit story or perhaps a really challenging time personally or professionally where you could have given up or given in, but you didn't.
Lots, man. I mean, I think that's part of the journey of entrepreneurship in life. Maybe the most extreme one was when I broke my neck on my tour. So last year I did a tour and I was doing 90 days, 23 cities, and 2/3 of the way through, still a month left, I broke my neck and had a concussion, broke my neck in 2 spots, compressed my spine. And, my family and my agent and everybody's like, okay, well, how do we get you home? I'm in Denver, Colorado. I got to get back to Toronto, Canada. And I said, I'm not coming home. I'm going to finish my tour. At least I'm going to try. I don't want to just default to say, okay, I'm done. I want to at least give it a shot. And what am I going to do at home is what I told them. I just lie in a bed. I mean, I'm going to be here helping entrepreneurs in all these cities. That's healing for me. That's healing more than just lying at home feeling sorry for myself. And so I kept going. And the hardest moment probably in that entire thing was when I got released from the hospital. I passed the Donald Trump test, the cognition test, because I had a concussion. So they let me out. And I was going to my car and I wasn't allowed to drive because I broke my neck and can't turn my head around. And my wife we rented this giant Suburban to drive across the country. And my wife is now going to drive me. And she was trying to get me into the Suburban and, giant car. My wife is a little tiny person. And I'm at this point where I get one foot into the Suburban and one foot's out and I can't go forward. It hurts too much to go forward and she can't push me in and I can't go back because that hurts too much too. So I'm just kind of stuck in the car. And I just start crying. It's just like overloaded with frustration and overwhelm. I'm in so much pain. I can't go forward. I can't go back. I don't know what to do. I just start bawling. And I don't know the last time I cried as an adult. It's been a long time. But then, she summoned some extra strength and gave me a good push in my butt and we got in. And that's it. I think moving the quit line, I think is really important. Moving the point at which you say, I quit, is really, really important. There will still be some times where you are actually at your max and you can't go anymore and you do need to be more gentle on yourself. But that's maybe 5% of the time. 95% of the time, you need to be pushing harder, pushing further and moving that quit line forward.
I've been doing this for quite some time, almost 300 guest interviews, and no one has said that and how you said it, moving that quit line. And I think the number you gave is 5%, and I think I equate that to it's keep going, and it's 1% more and 1% improvement. So I'm really glad you touched on that. I wanted to express one thing to you is you share a lot about your past, both in your videos as well as on your websites and thing, and you do it in such an extremely vulnerable and candid way. And I think in today's day and age, when everybody wants to show only their highlight reels on social media and their YouTube pages and things, I just wanted to commend you, because I think that's really important, because that's how people truly learn and grow. And I think that in a day where, like I said, everybody's focusing on just those highlights, you come very vulnerably to your listeners and to your fans. And I just wanted to appreciate you for that and say thank you, because that's, again, how we all learn and grow, by emulating others during those challenging times.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. It's definitely been a work in progress. I think as I grew and had more success, people, as I would be given advice, would say, well, that's easy for you because of XYZ. And like, yeah, I'm introverted. I'm afraid of everything. It's like all of these things that I can definitely connect to and relate to. So I wanted to put that up on the website. What I honestly did was I messaged people who I'd had some role in mentoring them and guiding them, who also thought that I was too extreme or too crazy at the beginning, to think like it's unreachable, that you're just different, that you're wired different than I am. And I said, what made the shift for you? Like, how did you start to listen to me and actually take the advice and apply it? And it was always some variation of, I felt like you were like me. There was one part of your story that I connected to that I said, oh, he's actually not that different from me. And so I just collected all those different bits that people connected to and just kind of threw them together and put them up on my website. So hopefully there's something in there that people can connect to, because I think most people out there, so I have a YouTube channel and we've got 2.5 million subscribers and all that stuff. But I think most of your audience is already a better speaker than I was when I first started. Introverted and shy and afraid of the camera and afraid of disappointing people and all of these things that I still battle with. But that doesn't mean that you stop. Talk about like moving to quit line. So you're introverted and so you're afraid of disappointing people, and you still want to serve, you still want to help, you still have a mission, you still want to inspire others. And so I just had to teach myself that being afraid is not a good enough reason.
No, and I think that's such a great point, is it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I think, again, going back to my comment of watching people's highlight reels, too many of us compare ourselves to others at their absolute best, or 5, 10, 15 years into it. And I think that's the one thing I don't like about social media, is people are following others that have hundred thousands of followers or a million followers, and they're getting thousands upon thousands of likes and things, and they're expecting that instant gratification. But to your point, it's putting in that work. And I just wanted to, again, I appreciate you sharing that, because that's, to me, the biggest value we add to our fans, to our listeners, people out there, is it's not the end result, it's what's happened along the journey.
Yeah, I think that if you look too much like a superhero, people won't connect to you. So it's showing the chinks in the armor, showing the scars and the wounds, and even now what you're dealing with now, like what are you struggling with right now, and sharing that, and then showing people that you're still worried about this thing and you're still going to get up and do it. That's a lot of like, you want to get people more confident. I think that's a great way to do it, as opposed to only telling the war stories from a decade ago of when you used to struggle. Everybody still struggles right now. And so getting people to kind of understand that, and then showing that the willingness to try is an inspiration. The willingness to try to get that guest on, to ask that question, to make that video, to make that call, to get on stage, the willingness to try right now is still an inspiration. And we tend to only gear towards the stories that we conquered something and we got the win. And so now we're comfortable sharing what we went through because we got the win, as opposed to, no, I'm struggling with this right now.
No, that's awesome. And I think that's perfect advice for what we're going through, not only as a country, but also through the world. It's been a very challenging year in 2020. An interesting question we ask each guest, and I'm intrigued what your answer is going to be, is if you had to define yourself, but you could only use one word, what word did you pick?
Oh, believe. That one's easy.
I was 99% sure you were going to say that, but I also was going to say that you might have used the word serve, because I know that's something that you talk about a lot
Yeah.
And speaking of serve, your book Built to Serve, which I just read, is fantastic, and I think it's a book that I would recommend for people that are looking to serve others. And I think, again, going back to my comment, in a day where so many people ask about what's in it for me and how can I get my company or my YouTube channel or my social media to the next level, you talk about the word serve all the time, and I love that. But wanted to just dissect the whole word believe, and I know you express believing in others, and I think in a day that's very challenging in 2020, if you had advice or suggestion on maybe how people could not only believe in themselves but express belief in others as well.
So I think to believe in others, you need to start by believing in yourself more. I think to be able to, this comes down to a self-love question. Like, it's really, when you don't love yourself, you're much more easily going to lash out on somebody else. You're going to project everything you hate about yourself. You're going to see in other people and lash out and freak out on them. I think in terms of moving the no quit line, I think people should be harder on themselves, right? That 95-5, but they can't because they don't love themselves enough. People are already on the verge of suicide and depression and tons of mental illnesses. They can't be harder on themselves because they don't love themselves enough. So self-belief is the starting point of that. You get self-belief by doing difficult things, by showing yourself that you show up, whether you get the result or not. You get an idea to start a podcast, to start a YouTube channel, to write a book, to make that call, whatever. Teaching yourself that you do it, whether it works out or not, and then you reward the effort. Because if you're only rewarding where you get results, then you're only going to do things where you know you're going to get a result. Therefore, you play small your entire life. Where if you reward yourself for the effort of trying, you're going to make tons of mistakes, fail all over the place, but end up accomplishing way more than the person who's just tied to getting the results. So self-belief is step number one. I don't know that you can really believe in others until you believe in yourself. Step two then is belief in others. Well, it's understanding and having empathy and compassion for why somebody doesn't believe in themselves more. I think this is maybe the strength of the messaging on my website, but also where a lot of people who have achieved struggle. They struggle to have empathy for the people who are stuck in complainer land. We just write them off. Those people are haters. They're just haters. No, they're not haters. They just hate their life. That's the problem. They don't even know you. You know, they're not hating you. They don't know you. They hate their own life, and so they're projecting. And so having empathy for that, to understand, I default to thinking people are good. So, you know, we can maybe disagree on that. I don't think you will, but I'm open to like a debate on that. But I think people are good. From all the exercises that I've done to help people find their one word, their who, their most important core value, it's always been something positive. Mine is believe, somebody else might be hope or inspired. I've never had somebody's who come back as death or hatred or like it's never something negative. I've never seen it be something negative. We want to be good. We want, you know, I'm sure there's some tiny percentage of the population who enjoys killing people. But otherwise, people are good. I believe people are good. So, okay. So if you start with that people are good, then you see somebody who's doing all these, you know, nasty behaviors, nasty comments, hurting other people. Why would they do that? Well, they're in a lot of pain themselves. So having that empathy allows you to actually crack the nut instead of just dismissing that person as a hater or a terrible person. So that's kind of the default starting mode. And then that allows you to ask better questions and to actually shift their perspective.
The perspective you just shared on haters and people that are hating their life. Something that I touch on in my new book is the idea of hurting people hurt people. And I think, you know, people reference them as haters, which you did as well. Is the reality is they're going through something painful in their life, or they're dealing with something, and they, to use your word, they project it on others because I think they don't know how to express it. And I also think in today's day and age, people struggle with asking for help. And I think being vulnerable, most people tie that to being weak and weakness. And I think it's the flip side is vulnerability is strength, and asking for help or guidance along the way, I think is so important in all different phases of life.
And I don't think we've been given the tools. Who are you? Who have we been taught by? You've been taught by your teachers and your parents. Well, Are these people who actually love their life? Probably not. At some point we discover, oh, wow, we think our parents are superheroes, but behind it, a lot of times that they're not having a happy service-filled life either. They settled for a job that they didn't love to try to make ends meet, and they're just barely hanging on too. So we haven't been given the tools. So whether that's my book or your book or your show or my YouTube content, it's like I'm trying to give people the tools to have the awareness, because without the awareness, you don't solve the problem.
I think that's such a key point, and I think you're spot on with that. Is if we don't have the tools, we don't know how to do it. We don't know the questions to ask. And to your point, you look up to teachers, you look up to, your parents, you look up to, friends, parents, and the reality is a lot of them are just getting by or in a job or a career that they know they'll be successful, but they don't love it and they don't enjoy going to work. So I appreciate you touching on that. If you could go back and give the 20-year-old version of yourself just one piece of advice, what would that be?
It would still be believe in yourself more, believe that you can, believe in your potential, believe it will work out, believe in your ideas. And I used to hate this question because I can't go back to my 20-year-old self. I'm 40 now, so we're talking 20 years ago. Like, I can't do it. I can't go backwards. I don't regret anything. I wouldn't go back and change it because I love where I'm at now. And I just don't think backwards like that. But I ended up actually loving this question, because what would 80-year-old Evan tell today, Evan? The same thing. Believe in yourself more, believe that you can, believe in your potential, believe that will work out. So whatever the message you would tell your 20-year-old self is still the same message you need right now, just on a bigger scale. And so now it becomes practical. Now it becomes actually something that I can use. And so, yeah, I flipped that question to loving it. And I think it should be whatever your core value is. So in my terminology, your most important core value, whatever that is, that's still what you need more of right now in your life.
Yeah, no, and it's an interesting question too, because there is no right or wrong answer. And to your point, for me, I'm a couple years older than you, so it would have been 22 years ago. If I had the opportunity to grant you dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would you pick and why?
I struggle so much with this one because I don't know what I've consumed so much of people's content. I don't know what I would ask them. I would probably pick AP Giannini, who's on the wall here beside me. He's my favorite entrepreneur of all time. He started Bank of America. He lent money to people based off of a handshake and a look in their eye. If you can imagine a banker giving you a loan based off of a look in your eye and a handshake. He bet on the little guy when nobody else did. He gave Walt Disney the money to start Disney when everybody else thought he was crazy. So he had that long history and that idea of kind of believing in people. But I don't know. There's no video content on him. I called up the Bank of America because I wanted to make a video on him for my channel, and there was no footage. So like, hey, do you guys have any archival footage of AP Giannini? I'd love to make a video. And they said, who's AP Giannini? Like, oh my God. He's your founder, right? It's like nobody knows who he is. Like, okay, that's fine.
When did he die?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah, but I love the story. So there's some books on him and stuff, but no video content. So probably him. I'd like to have a conversation with him. Honestly, though, I don't know what questions to ask. So I would love to have somebody dissect me. So I don't know who would be the best if you're thinking like Tony Robbins or Brendan Burchard or any of these guys, and I know them, but I'd love to have them just grill me instead of the other way around, because I probably don't even know what the right question to ask is. I don't know what my blind spot is, so you point it out and tell me.
I think that's not my job to do, but I appreciate the offer. So speaking of books, we believe in the value of books, and I'm curious if you've read anything recently or if you're currently reading something that you'd like to recommend to our listeners.
So I'm a super slow reader. I have a goal to read 10 pages a day, which is not a lot, but I'm just a slow reader. I love learning, but I learn mostly through video. So what I typically do is I read one book. I read 7 books at a time. I read one book a day. So every Monday I read one book, and Tuesday until I finish the book. It'll take me a while, right? If I read 10 pages a day and it's a 300-page book, it's taking me 30 days times, once a week. It's taking me a long time to get through books. What am I reading right now? I'm reading Dave Hollis's book. get out of your own way, which is great. And I feel for him because I met him in Puerto Rico and he's going through his divorce now with his wife. So he's on my mind a lot. So as I read that book, it also, makes me connected to him and what he's going through. So that's a good one I think it's more geared towards men, but talking to Chris's point earlier about vulnerability and sharing and not trying to be, this fake version of a man. I think anybody who's struggling with that could be a good book to get into.
No, I appreciate that. So we're going to jump over to what we call our hot seat questions. And the only request we have of you is you just spit out the first thing that comes to mind.
Let's go.
Last meal, you can pick absolutely anything. What do you pick?
Pizza with white cheese sauce.
Favorite smell?
Pizza.
Favorite sport?
League of Legends.
Do you have an all-time favorite team?
TSM/Toronto Blue Jays.
Favorite movie?
Seabiscuit.
Great flick. Do you have a favorite author?
Michael Crichton.
What is the favorite app you have on your phone?
Favorite app on my phone? YouTube Music.
What is the background picture on your phone?
I made a custom one that says, "Remember your intention."
And do you have an all-time favorite book?
Built to Serve.
Built to Serve. I like it. And then you've obviously had some amazing people you've connected with. I'm curious if you have an all-time favorite quote.
Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
So someone who's very active on YouTube and social media, I was curious if there's one or two people that you follow on social media that you would recommend that really puts out inspirational and motivating content that you follow.
So as part of what I do, if your audience doesn't know, I will digest tons of people's different content and then mash them up and smush them together. So as part of what I do, I end up watching a lot of YouTube content. This is why I like sitting down with a lot of people. Okay, I already know what they're going to say because we've consumed so much of their content. But if I'm then consuming just for pleasure, that's not for work. My two that I would go to would probably be Gary V and Tom Bilyeu. I would consume just on its own.
Two great guys. And wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind just telling our listeners what's the best way for them to follow you, connect with you, and again, I would definitely recommend your book. So if you wouldn't mind just touching on some of that real quick.
Yeah, if you want the book, Amazon's probably the easiest spot. If you want the signed copy, you can get it from my website, just off my name, evancarmichael.com. Social, I'm probably everywhere you're at. Just look up Evan Carmichael and you'll find me.
And then last question I have for you is the same question I have for everybody, is if you have any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners today.
Making today matter. That concept that we came up with of moving the quit line, do that today. Like, what are you quitting on? This is the thing, is it doesn't only have to be some big, huge goal that you're working on. It's the daily skill to build, to move the quit line just a little bit forward. So what can you do today to move what are you thinking about quitting on? Again, it doesn't have to be some big thing. Like you're quitting on your marriage, or you're quitting on your job, or you're quitting on some big thing. It could just be you're going to meditate today, or you're going to fast for an hour today, or you're going to take that walk, or you're going to be more intentional with your work, or you're going to go back and listen to another one of Chris's episodes. Like anything, like every day, you have a chance to prove to yourself what you're made of. And there's going to be points in time where your brain says, okay, I'm done. Today is going to happen 20 times today. Your brain's going to say, okay, I'm done. And then just telling yourself, you're not done yet, Chris. You got one more. And teaching yourself to move that quit line just a little bit forward every single day, that starts allowing you to make those deposits into your self-worth bank account. And so that'd be my message today. Like, you have big dreams, big ambitions, big goals, big things that you can go off and do. And that starts with the little micro things starting today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not on your birthday, not January 1st, today. Before you go to bed, you still got a chance to move that quit line 1 inch forward.
That is awesome, and a perfect way to end today's podcast. And I can't thank you enough, Evan. And I know that you and I will connect again soon.
Appreciate the love, Chris. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for listening to episode number 294. Evan shared something today about haters that I think we all need to hear, especially during this difficult climate within our country. Evan not only believes in himself, but he also believes in other people. I challenge everyone today to move that quit line just a bit further. Keep going and make today matter. And remember, we rise by lifting others up.
And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.